Oh.
Thank you. Well done. Stand up here now. Okay. But I don't know if we're gonna need, I'm gonna have them both stay up here because I don't know what the vote, if everybody can vote or not yet. All right. So, we're gonna go on with the business application of 687 Main Street LLC. Owner applicant, application is for modification to a previous approval pursuant to section 43(8) of the zoning regulations for the construction of 6 residential units in 1 townhouse building per plan submitted at the property located 687 South Main Street, Assessors Map 71, Lot 32, Zone R20A. Go ahead. You got it all?
You got it all.
I got it all? Okay.
Thank you.
I thought I was just doing a little bit, but it ended up. All right, so who will be representing for, come on up. Name and address for the record, please.
I've done this before here, but it doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, it doesn't, it's kind of, let's see. Knew it worked. Good evening. For your records, Scott Myers, I'm a professional engineer and land surveyor with Myers Associates PC on behalf of the applicant this evening. What I'd like to do first is to introduce our new plan, which we've designed. There was a previous engineer that designed the current existing approved plan. And then what I'll do, I have a bullet point, little outline of the differences between the last plan and this current plan that is before you this evening. So basically, the property is 0.69 acres. It's on the corner of South Main Street and Higgins Road. The proposal is for 6 units in 1 building. Each unit will have a garage in the rear, and there'll be 8 additional on-site parking spaces. So for a total of 8 plus the 6 is 14 parking spaces. You see here by our layout, we have landscaping around the perimeter and around the foundation of the site. Building will be serviced by water and sewer, gas, underground electric. Same basic way that the last site was being serviced. It is in an R20A zone, and we do comply with all the zoning setbacks, et cetera. As far as storm drainage, we still have an underground detention system. It's a little smaller as our impervious area is a little less. I can now, if there's, I guess I can ask if there's any questions on this plan, or do you want me to give you the differences?
Any commission members?
First.
have a question? Mrs. Downson.
So there's parking in the garage, and then you have a space out in front, and then there's the additional 8 spaces,
There's no space out front.
or out back?
There's the parking spaces, the garage spaces, and then the 8 additional spaces.
So you're not going to have anyone parking like
Well,
behind?
technically, a resident who owns that, or who's renting that apartment can park behind the garage if they want. There's ample room.
That's, okay.
However, there's a garage space, plus there's 8 additional on-site parking spaces, so the need to park in front of the garage may not be necessary with this particular layout.
Thanks.
Mr. Bowman.
Rob was first.
Go ahead,
On the parking outside in front of the garage doors, I know other towns, I don't know if Cheshire does, the fire department says no because that's fire access. And without having access on Route 10 and it's being so far back, is that approved by them?
Not sure. I've never run across where the fire department has made the fire lane in front of the garages or required it to be crosshatched. I've done a lot of condo developments over the years. I don't know if that's been reviewed. I know the fire department did make a couple comments, and that wasn't one of them. I think the only two comments they had were the water main size and there's one, they wanted a lockbox, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bowman.
They were talking about the size for a hydrant, size of the water main. The
Yes,
fire. What's the scale on that?
20 scale.
20 scale?
Yes.
So even in the unit closest to the road, to Higgins, if you park a car there, are you impeding in any way, shape, or form the access for fire apparatus? I understand that you can get another car by there.
There should be about 35 feet between the building corner and the parking if you scale it.
And what's the
'Cause
car going to take up, or an SUV take up?
depending on which kind of car.
I know.
Yep.
So that's a legitimate question. Mr. Mercado's right. Does the fire department know that you want to count parking outside there, thereby maybe impeding the access? There's only one single access to the rear there. Can you show me on the map where approximately on Higgins you're going to put the fire hydrant?
I think the fire hydrant was going to be on the site as far as I knew.
So you're running an 8-inch main and then tapping off the 8-inch main
Yes,
and then having a fire. So where are you going to put the hydrant?
it was going to be the dead end
The
where the
hydrant is
main,
going to be down there?
where the main ends. As far as I know, now the water department
That's where
hasn't
the dumpster is.
dictated that yet. But that's what the
This is
plan
private
was
property.
on the previous plan. As far as I'm aware. I mean, the Rickies, they may know a little more than I do on that. I'm kind of not finished with the whole presentation yet. If we can
Mr.
maybe
Chairman,
go over a few more things before we get to the couple technical questions you're asking.
Mr. Chair, may
Yes,
I
yes.
interrupt? Just for the record, Mike Liddon, Town Planner. Two things. One, on Mr. Ricardo's comment on the parking. The town engineer actually brought this comment up because the original layout had the garage door closest to Higgins. And his exact concern was, well, if someone's backing out of their garage, never mind parked in front of the garage, they may not see someone coming in. So the applicant has reversed the garage layout to move it further away from Higgins. However, these revisions were forwarded to the town engineer to have review. It's specific on some of the traffic comments because he also brought up the concern with having the sight lines shown on the plan. What exactly were the sight lines looking east and looking west?
But if you superimpose one of these parking spots where the lines are and drop that where that garage is shown on here where it's been moved over, it's worse.
So-
It's worse for parking there,
So-
maybe not for backing
So
out.
maybe this is the other comment I would make is that, the parking plan provided to staff, to the commission shows some flat surface parking on the eastern side of the property, and then you're using garages. If you are going to use spaces that are in front of the garages, it really should be reflected on the parking plan for purposes of determining kind of what the commission is saying right now when it comes to traffic flow, safety issues, especially those two units that are at the southern end of the property. There is potential that they could lean into the incoming traffic lane, which could cause a safety issue, which is something that the town engineer brought up. And I just say that, so the applicant has responded to the town engineer. However, I have not received final okay from the town engineer as of this afternoon.
Well,
So
in their
so you-
plan, they're +2 for parking. Could they make unit 1 and 2 just not have outside parking?
I don't know if there was really any intent on having outside parking at the garages.
Well, I'm just saying is that if it was signed,
Well,
You
no,
know.
because we have the 6 garage spaces plus the 8, that are standard size Cheshire spaces. So I
well,
don't
you're
think
at
we've
14
actually even
and you only need
designated
12.
parking in front of the garage, to be honest with you. I mean, will a homeowner park there possibly?
If they know they can't, they
Well,
won't.
Could I just clarify, this is and maybe the applicant can confirm this is a rental property, correct?
Yeah.
These are apartments basically being rented.
Yeah.
So the landlord can control and say, no parking in front of the garage.
Yeah, and these 2 units, just 1 and 2, that seems to be the only concern because that's the entrance.
Which could be incorporated into the plans and into an approval by this commission. But
So I have two in another town, 2 condos just like this, and you're not allowed to park there. It's in our, I don't know, whatever our handbook that we get. Yeah.
So it could be controlled. But I mean, also the thing too is if that is going to be allowed on the plan, I would prefer the town engineer look at this from a safety traffic perspective to make sure that we're not creating a pinch point where someone's car, SUV, et cetera.
Well, they're providing 14 spaces, counting the 2 spaces in front of those.
Understand, but I'm just
They only
saying,
need 12, so they're,
I would prefer that the plans show no parking in front of those spaces so we don't have a safety issue. We
Yep.
don't have a traffic. And if they want to allow it, it needs to be okayed by the town engineer.
go ahead, Mr. Todd.
It's okay.
Yep, no, just real quick too, I know that you're going to go through the differences.
Yes.
And I know that in a number of the responses, the engineering department, you use the word it's similar, so it's not the same. So if you could, make sure you hit all those when you're going through your presentation. And also, I just want to make sure you hit on the trash, because I know it wasn't part of the previous conversation, but looks like, I'm not sure if you're looking for the town to pick up the trash or it's going to be private.
No, I can hit on that. I think we've added something to the plan for that. Any other questions before I, how about, let's see, this is the new look of the building before I go through the site plan differences. As far as building materials, that kind of stuff, I defer to Jonathan Ricky on that because I'm not an architect or a builder. So, but this would be the look from Main Street. The rear elevation as well as side elevations.
But your rear elevation hasn't been corrected. For the garage door next to the one closest to the Higgins Road?
I just rendered this drawing previous to flipping that. Your copy is accurate that you have in front of you.
Okay,
That
well,
was, it was I had rendered this, I printed this off before we had to make that switch.
well, it's still part of our package, so it's,
It's correct, in your package in front of you, it's correct.
except it's not in the front. But that's, okay, if you're saying it's further along,
Yes, the very first, the actual architectural, or the actual architectural drawings. not the photos.
The floor plan, yeah.
Correct. A5, yes. Do you see it, Matt?
I got,
You want to say anything else before I go over this stuff?
No. If you want, do you want me to touch on the building materials?
Sure.
Or you were just.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jonathan Ricky, this is, so the building materials that Scott was just alluding
the
to.
front is hardy plank.
Yep,
with
front is
board
all
and
hardy
batten.
plank, Higgins side's all hardy plank, and then the back and side are vinyl.
How about the sides?
The side facing Higgins, everything, the main Higgins, what you see is
Yeah.
all hardy.
So Higgins and the Main Street are hardy,
Correct.
no problem. I'm good.
Any questions?
Okay, so now I'll go over the differences between the site plan that was approved before and ours now. I don't think I'll need that, but we'll see. Okay, so the previous plan had 2 buildings. This current plan has 1 building. I think the previous plan there was 4 units in one building and 3 in another, which was, one more unit. The lot coverage was much larger in the other plan because we had two buildings, so the building coverage was larger. This one is 36% less. We have 8% less impervious surface coverage than the last one, because there weren't on site parking spaces proposed with the last plan. So the additional impervious is basically where the other building was, but we still have less. The building setback, the old setback was 45 to 50 feet from South Main Street. The new one is 65 on the northerly side, 95 on the southerly side. So there's more grass in both the front and rear of the building. The grading is more gentle, and there's a better site balance with only one building. We also moved the entrance more to the west for increased sight lines from Route 10 from the corner. We've also changed based on local feedback, there's now 1-car garages instead of 2. And there's less overall square footage of the apartments. Therefore, there's less impact on schools with 6 apartments versus 7. The lighting on the building, we do have on our site utility plan now. That was a question at the last meeting. And it's the same as the previous plan. They're going to be full cutoff wall packs just on the units themselves, just above the garage doors in the rear only. Utilities are the same as I previously stated. The development's served by water and sewer. The building heights are the same, and they're the same as previously approved. Sidewalks are going to be the same as the last plan, which there's an existing curb cut on Route 10 that's eliminated, and the concrete walk is rebuilt in that area. And then the previous approval, I guess, was 1/1/21, and I believe that was approved, and that is still, I think the approval is still valid, and so it wasn't withdrawn. I think somebody might have mentioned it might have been withdrawn, but I'm pretty sure your commission approved it. Those are the basic differences. I can entertain any questions or comments.
Mr. Vitale.
Just what I was talking about before, about things being similar. So on the questions that were asked from the engineering department, 2021 and 22 about the drainage, you say it's similar to what it was. So if it's not the same, what's changed?
I have to get my comments on that, if you bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
have a whole list. Okay, do you have a comment number on that? 20, oh, okay. Yeah, so basically, before there were two buildings, so the site was much more compact because of that. So they were running the elevation slightly different from the front. This building is going to be a little higher because it's toward South Main Street, so there's less impervious area. So we have less catch basins, less piping, and a smaller storm system. And we've submitted a stormwater management report to the town engineer already, and we actually revised it for him when we did the revisions on the plans. And I mean, that's pretty much my answer to all the storm questions.
Okay.
around
And
here.
I think this is my last question. With the last application, there was no digging because of the substances that could be under the ground there. Same thing, still not going to dig. They're going to be on a slab.
Yeah, the slab on grade with the garages.
So that was going to be my question, that there's no footings that are going down below that
Not
level,
below,
because I know before
Yeah.
they were bringing in fill so that they would not get
that's,
below that.
that's
level.
correct, yep.
So nothing changed on the
No.
elevations there.
Any other question?
We have to get something really straight. We should have straightened it out sooner. This, whether you've gone with 6 units or 7 units, the past has been approved and is currently valid. But this is now 6 units, so it's not the same. And I don't like to see the comment, same as the other. Will be shown in the next revision. Just not anything specific. It just will be added to the next drawing issuance. Will be corrected on the next drawing issuance. What's the next drawing issuance?
That was the issuance we did on Friday, and you should have that was the next one. We were just commenting that it would be addressed on the plan. That's usually the way we do it. We take the comments we receive, and then we bold in a note and comment back. So like, let's say for number 2, where are you going to put snow storage? Well, we added that to the plan, snow storage area, and we put a couple liters in the grass areas off the edge of the parking lot.
Yeah, but,
So things like that, that's how these all should be addressed that way.
okay, I wish they were highlighted so we could see the differences and see the changes that you made. Your plans have been updated. Your first copies are 411 and then you go, 411, and then you go to 517.
51822 should be all these comments are reflected in these plans.
I thought I saw 517. Okay, 518.
I think they were finalized on Friday because we had to do a perk test and we couldn't do it because of the rain on Thursday. So we had to do it on Friday. That's the only reason the plans were submitted then and not earlier.
But it has to be noted that, previous approved application, it has nothing to do with a previous approved application. This is a new application and it's a new process. That does bother me a little bit.
You're referring to number 9?
I'm talking about 9.
Because 9, I don't know.
15.
To be honest with you, 9, I don't know where the comment came from because the entrance that I designed was never angled. I don't know if he was looking at the previous plan, but the driveway is perpendicular. So there's about 5 or 6 comments in here that made no sense. So
17. 18, the revised grading lessens the existing slope similar to the previously approved plan. But the previously approved plans mean nothing because you're not building those 2 buildings. You're building this. Have all the questions been answered?
I don't have confirmation from the town engineer in writing that this has been addressed. We received the plans on Friday. He was reviewing it today, however, did not complete his review. So I
We
would.
have to
re-
leave the public hearing open until he completes
Yeah,
his
just in
review.
case he wants, if any of his items trigger revisions to the plans, obviously, if you close the public hearing, you can't receive new information. I would recommend that you make sure that the town engineer's comments are fully addressed.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to the water. Can I ask that question now? You said you wanted to finish your presentation before I asked that question.
yeah,
So you are going to run an 8-inch main all the way to the back? Is the hydrant shown on these plans?
not. Oh,
Sorry, excuse me. So we had a meeting with the fire department earlier in the week, the same time we actually talked to the town engineer and discussed every one of these points on here when we got his initial review. They had not determined that they actually do need a fire hydrant. They weren't aware that there was only one 110 feet up on the same side of the road right there. The fire department was in the process of going back and reviewing, do I actually need one?
And they haven't completed that yet?
They have not. They were going to go, Mike and Kasner were going out there to look to see if they could just roll out some hose because there is 110 feet directly up the road on the exact
There's one
same
directly
size.
across the street too, isn't there?
But they don't like that because it's across Route 10. They don't want to stop Route 10. They want to stay on that
There's a
side.
fire in that place. They're going to stop
Yeah,
Route
they're
10. So
gonna
that's
stop,
baloney.
yes.
But
But yes, there's one directly across the street. There's
Okay.
one directly right not 20 yards down that way.
Wow.
So there's 3 fire hydrants within 150 feet of the property.
Okay.
It just that show the record that Mr. Ricky answered that question. Okay. I just have a simple question. On the square footage, what's the total square footage of livable space in each apartment?
Each one is about 1,800.
Okay. Is there an attic?
There is no attic.
Okay. And in the basement, this auxiliary room in front of the garage, is that a storage room or is that a room that'll be made into another room to use?
That is part of the 1,800 square feet. It has heat. It is,
So that is a
It's a-
usable room?
it's a usable room.
Well, there's got to be an attic. It's just, are you going to access it from the sides, not through the units? Is that why you're saying there's no attic above these units?
Not like say serviceable with a pull down stair, just an attic hatch, but all,
Okay,
it'll be
that's-
all insulation, no platform for storage or any
Yeah.
of that.
Okay, no,
Yes.
that's good. I just, when you said no attic.
But it's
I-
going to be
Yeah.
accessible by each unit or no?
Each unit, yes, will have its own, because of the firewalls down the middle. We don't want to contaminate any space. So each unit will be able to go up into the attic if there has to be ductwork serviced or something
But
addressed.
the units aren't going to be connected
well,
No.
on the top.
I actually,
No, they're not. The firewall goes all the way up through, all the way to the
in the
roof.
center of the building.
No, each unit,
Each
unit
okay.
has an
So I can't go
individual-
up in one and come down on another.
correct,
Okay,
not
all
possible.
right.
That's what
That's not what I heard, so.
No, it's on the plans. There's a full shaft wall that goes all the way up to the roof and attaches to the underside of the deck.
I thought you said in the middle of the building. So that's what confused me.
So roughly it's about 600 square feet per floor?
Yes.
About that. Looking at the plan for myself coming out of Higgins Road, I do like this building better because it gives you a better sight line. And that's, for me, that's a big plus. Coming out of the road is because, I mean, it's such a hard corner to see out of anyway. And when the gas station was there, you couldn't see anything coming out of that corner. So I think I like that. But anyone else have any other questions, Commission? No.
I kind of piggyback on the same thing, Sean. You know, your sight lines are.
Yeah, your sight line's better.
There's nothing in the basement. So these are basically 800 per floor. He's thinking they're 600 per floor. They're not. They're 800 per floor, and the basement is not finished, other than counting that
Just the
utility room.
the utility room in the back is finished. That is part of
Utility
the,
room is, but not the rest of it.
Yeah,
yeah, just there's the garage and then right behind the garage at the back of the garage is,
No, I see that.
that's about 400 square feet right there.
Okay, it's 400 square feet. That's,
And then,
So it's 700
so
square
700
feet
per
per unit.
floor. Yes.
if you got, the overall length is 42, and you got 42 by 20. So that's 800,
It's under.
800 is 1,600, and you're finished in basement. So these are going to be almost 2,000 square feet, correct?
No, it's,
No.
it's short,
You got 42,
but it's not
overall
20
dimensions
feet
are
wide.
42.
It's 19 wide
It's
or
it's
18
it's
wide.
19
ain't 19. I'm rounding it
19.6 on
off.
the outside if you go down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm going outside to outside, exactly.
No, washer and dryer's on the second floor.
How large is the office upstairs?
I'm not trying to give you a hard time.
No.
I'm just trying,
Yeah.
Sean's saying one thing, and it's not 600 per floor. It's,
It's a little bit bigger. So it's like 700 per floor. 700, and then,
this plan is showing 42 by 20. Now, I'm just rounding it off to 800. On the first floor, I'm taking it, there's 800 on the second floor. That's 1,600 feet. Sean, I'm just trying to clarify this stuff.
oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I'm not,
But you got stairs, you got, I mean, that's not,
you're saying you're
Space.
going to keep the public hearing open.
yep.
So then we have the ability to ask more questions, but, you know, it's 1,600 plus whatever the finished area is.
So it's
So it's-
2,000.
It's good. I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to clarify. Somebody's saying something that I don't think is accurate, and I'm just looking for a clarification.
All right. Any other questions? So we're gonna leave the public hearing open until we hear from the engineer. We need to get the answers from the engineer.
The trash was taken, we do have a dumpster pad in Corral. It will be private. We did get an answer from the town
Okay,
as to whether it would be serviced or not, and they said no. So we installed the dumpster pad in the trash
Okay.
corral.
that's back in the left.
Yeah, it's back in this corner right here.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, I do have concerns about that driveway pulling in, and we have to figure out what the engineer's going to say. But as the property owner in apartments, I mean, that you could restrict that. That you have some kind of, I don't, it wouldn't be like a set of bylaws, I guess, but it would be,
Lease.
Yeah, we'd just be on the
Lease
list.
agreement.
yeah, but yeah, it's privately owned, so it wouldn't be like a condo
Yeah.
complex.
We just added the language to the lease.
Okay. No? All right, we'll just hold off until the next public hearing to finish.
What are we waiting for?
We're waiting for the engineer to give us the final say so, and the fire department too.
To determine whether they're going to require, a hydrant on the property or.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but we have to follow the protocol for it. So-
There is a fire hydrant directly across the street. I can't see how.
So, 13th of June.
You've addressed the lighting on the rear. You've got no lighting on the front. I take it there is going to be lighting on the front.
No. Just, there is underneath, there's recessed lighting underneath each one of the individual
Okay, so
porches.
there'll be nothing on the front, just recessed lights.
Right. There's nothing, we don't want to cast any light to the,
And thank you for addressing the exterior lights.
Okay. Motion to adjourn this for now. I know, but I need something to, motion to adjourn public hearing.
Actually, continue the public
Continue
hearing.
public hearing until the June 13th. This, continue till June,
Continued.
continue till June 13th. Thank you. And first, second, taking motion. I'm waiting, for-
Not to adjourn to.
To continue the public hearing.
yeah, continue.
That's the last thing of the public hearing.
Yes,
So
Yeah,
make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
yes.
right.
You're making the motion?
Sure.
Okay. And you're going to second it? Okay, you got that? Bricado.
Well, if they're presenting more evidence, how can you?
No. We're just, just for right now, we're, for this public hearing for now,
That's
Okay.
fine.
okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. And one person can't vote.
Mike will have to explain that
Okay.
to me later.
So everybody's voting. Everybody voted 9-all. We have 10 up here, though. I'll let you figure it out. She's not voting. I was,
Anita's not.
Mrs. Downs. Yes. It's all pointing fingers up here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna
Glad we all got
open
racers on
the
fence.
Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Accepting the minutes 5/9/22.
Motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Motion to approve by Mr. Talley, second by Mr. Dawson. Any discussion about the minutes? No? All those sayers, and that's going to be, Mrs. Downs going to vote again. All those in favor of the minutes as they are, so by saying aye.
Abstaining.
Oh, one abstain.
I wasn't here.
So it'll be
801.
801. Vacation boy. Okay. So
On course.
whatever. Communications. Do we have any communications?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have a memo from Planning Department staff dated May 16th, 2022. Just follow up on the Cheshire Academy baseball field comments
Oh, here we
that
go.
we received the last meeting. We looked at the files. So the baseball fields were built in accordance with the approved plans.
Yep.
They're not in violation of the zoning regulations. I attached aerial photograph along with a picture that's kind of documenting the existing conditions, where the dugouts are located, fencing, and they also have their poles with netting up along with the tree, in the tree line. So from an enforcement standpoint, just specific to that complaint, really, there's not a violation of our regs, it's not a violation of the special permit. However, we're going to reach out to Mr. Wilson and to Cheshire Academy and accommodate a meeting of the two neighbors and say, listen, we're going to facilitate a meeting. You have a neighbor that has concerns, which are valid, need to be addressed as for being a good neighbor. There's probably some simple solutions, whether it's telling the kids not to play amplified music out there or getting some porta-johns closer to the field so that the kids aren't interrupting his view shed with.
Well, the net isn't even up in this picture, right?
No, the net's up. I'm sorry. The quality of the picture. There's a netting up that if you really,
Just about. see.
I can email I can
Oh,
email
yeah, I
this
can
to
see-
you.
I can
You
just
you
barely
barely see it.
Probably going over.
Yeah.
Probably going over. They did it, they tried to match the tree line, which is nice, but probably still going over that.
I drove up, oh, go ahead, Woody, go ahead. No,
In
you
due respect to the gentleman that come and testified, you know, he did have some valid, and I realize all the time that they don't meet the planning and zoning complaints, but, you know, I went down there, I looked, and I put myself in his shoes. I mean, every man's home is his castle. So, you know, sometimes we have to use a little common sense. So I appreciate, Mike, you facilitating a meeting because you can do a lot of things there that can calm it down and make it work, you know? Because I know you're good at working problems out, so thank you.
Thanks, Woody.
Quick, are these foul, he's getting a lot of balls hitting into his yard. These are foul balls from the batter? Don't they have a batting cage? I mean, wouldn't that solve the whole thing? Maybe
during the game,
During the game.
if the field is right there, all balls go over into his yard.
No, I understand it, but wouldn't a batting cage prevent that from happening? Foul
During the game.
No, he's at the backstop. You're talking about the,
Backstop, you're not talking
Backstop.
Or
He
a
means
backstop that comes over the top kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, batting cages behind the the batter, the catcher, there used to be a catcher a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's behind you, and it was like
Yeah, it
fencing and
comes
it went out
around.
this way, and it had a top.
backstop, yeah. But the
I
backstop
don't know
is-
whether
is-
That's how the balls are getting there, but it seems to me that they could put that in. And with kids, I mean, a school's the neighbor, the school should supervise their kids. The kids shouldn't be relieving themselves by a fence by his yard. I mean, there's ways he could probably handle that, but it wouldn't be too pleasant for the kids perhaps, but the school just should say you don't do that and you don't play music there. I mean, it's hard to have any sympathy for that.
Go ahead, Mr. Bowman.
Are you done, Lou? I'm sorry. I drove up there and I looked around and everything Lou says and Woody says is completely correct. The kids shouldn't be urinating there. They could be a good neighbor and either raise the backstop or raise the netting. But the thing that bothered me the most is there's a maintenance building up there and I don't ever remember that coming in front of planning and
Yeah,
zoning.
did a long time ago. Made it so.
But we couldn't find anything in the file, so.
Yeah, I'm still looking to find when that thing was approved. The files that I pulled from downstairs, I had the relocation of the baseball fields. That was in 2005.
I was here, so it's got to be after 2004.
Okay.
It's got maybe 2007 or 8.
Unless it was under a different address. I didn't find it. I mean, I could.
It would be under the main academy address.
Okay.
The Main Street address. They did that when they burned down, when the building burned down. That's when they built that.
Okay, but is it occupied? I guess I'm going around the long way here. Does this have a bathroom facility that can be used by the fields? Is where I'm going. If this is an occupied building, there has to be a bathroom
I think the
facility
building was
there.
designed for facilities where, like, they have their wood shop in there, because everything used to be up on the Main Street.
It used to
And-
be to the left of the.
Yeah,
of the
and then
ball
that
field.
caught on fire. And then when that caught on fire, they built the other building. And then all the maintenance and, they had the plumber, the electrician, everybody goes in that building together. And then I mean, I would assume that it has a bathroom there, but I don't think it has like facilities for the kids. I think it was built for the employees.
Well, either they're gonna have to come up with a porta potty situation.
Well, not so much that they're gonna have to figure out a bathroom facility, or they could add it on to that building.
Yeah, they've got to come up with
They already got,
something.
they already got
And
something.
it should be while the school is in operation so that they don't have to maintain it during the summer when no one's using it. But
Yep.
they either have to provide porta potties for the number of students and the number of players and the number of fans there. This is part of the health regulation. This really is not us or a building, but if Cheshire Academy doesn't want to be a good neighbor, this could go to the point where, they could call Cheshire in and
Yeah.
say, okay, this is unsanitary, and basically it is unsanitary. So I'm really hoping that you can get to the bottom of it. And
Wasn't there another question about the lights
Yes.
being on all the
Yes.
time? So that might be something else that makes the list.
I don't know what time the lights.
It's on my list. I'll add it. So that's it for this
For that.
complaint, and then I'll keep the commission updated when we meet with Mr. Wilson and Cheshire Academy.
Okay.
And then you're,
And then, and another thing for the communications, is it any way we get the packet like a little bit earlier? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know why we get it so late. I got mine
you didn't
late
get yours?
today,
Today.
Yeah, I mean, so what I can do is this, is maybe to cut down costs, we can hand deliver those to your houses if you okay with that. That way you'll know you'll have them by Friday.
Yeah. man.
And plus then, so
Sorry, how does that cut down on costs? Who's delivering them?
So-
Police department the same
Yeah,
way.
No, no,
That's what they used to
Same way they
do.
deliver
Smart.
town
Yeah, the
council.
police department used to brought.
So-
Yeah.
So I may be going on a road that no one's, I may not be a popular person in the office when I say this. When I worked in West Hartford, the zoning officers, we delivered packets to all our commission members because we use it as part of we're out doing inspections, we're everywhere in town, so therefore we're also going to be
Yeah.
the courier for the commission.
Yep.
We could start doing that. It'll save some money at the same time. Then you'll know by Friday, either me or Mike are at your front door dropping the packet off. It's just an option. The other option is using digital means, making sure that they're going, no, okay. I won't go down that road.
Why don't you have the police do it? They used to do it.
Constables.
It's what?
Constables.
Oh, the
We
constable.
we can handle it. We've, like I said, I've done it in other
Whatever.
communities and it's Friday.
I mean, which normally, I think these go out, even when you've been here, they go out on Thursday. They go out on, and there were times when they went out on Thursday, we didn't have them on Monday evening, but generally speaking, I mean, if we went out on Thursday, we probably would have had this on Saturday. But maybe it's not that big a deal, it's so impossible to get that out early.
Yeah. Well, and also, we got some of the drawings, at least the architectural's in there on Friday too. So I was trying
Yeah.
to I don't want to send you incomplete documents too.
Tell them they gotta get them in on Thursday.
Yeah.
I
that-
actually-
They're stringing us along. That's not that.
Mr. Bowman has another question.
No, it's not a question. It's just a comment. To Lou, the information on this public hearing came in Friday afternoon. Even if it was mailed on
No, if
Thursday.
we got a packet, we wouldn't even seen
wouldn't
it
have had
either.
it.
Yeah.
So I understand where this one could have been a little bit late, but, the other thing is these applicants have to get you this information sooner.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be getting it on Friday.
Well, we could have a shut off of Thursday for,
It's even got to be before that. That's still tight
I
for
guess
us.
the only thing I warn you under statute is that they can come in the day of the meeting with revised documents, unfortunately. That's the reality. They think that we all just have to be in agreement. If the application does not have the details it needs, it's continued.
Yeah, you have
And
to
then-
accept it
and-
by law.
And I,
But you don't have
as
to
staff,
have
that's the warning I give them, is that, listen, if you're incomplete, you got a delay. End of story.
it. Yeah, but Mike, you have to accept it.
Exactly.
I agree with you. but you don't have to present them if they're not in on time.
Well, I mean-
Because even with us, we sit here, I just got my packet today.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to look and see what, and be part of the meeting? You know, you got somebody up there testifying and all. So,
That's a good.
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to.
but that's what, I'd have a time one.
I just want to add, I differ from some folks too. I really appreciate when you email it too. Because, as soon as I get that email, I read it. So please don't stop doing that.
Yeah, don't stop that, but that, I
No.
meant that shouldn't be the only way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so, moving on to, unfinished business. Application, we went through that. It's gonna be, to June 13th, right?
Sean, when you have a chance, could I just say something about a letter from 2
Oh.
weeks ago? I don't know at what
We're
point.
on,
I
that'd be in
was-
communicate, we'll stop. Go ahead. You
Oh,
go.
it was a communication that came 2 weeks ago, and I was going to comment on it, and I didn't. I got sidetracked. But the letter about Stonebridge Crossing, that was signed by all those people, about the plantings, I do think there's some value in it. I think that it's way past the time where you would comment on that particular development, but I think urging developers to use natives versus invasives and using sustainable planting is not a bad idea. Just like, we ask people to put in better siding, better lighting and all of that, that I appreciate the fact, the letter, you can't go back retroactively, but I think it's important to try to encourage developers to go with that idea. And you can't make them do it, but you can certainly ask. So I will probably be nudging people in the future, you may hear me asking about that.
Mr. Bowman wants to.
I have a comment.
Yes.
They do have to come back.
Oh.
They do, not this one. I think this is about
that was-
the condos. That doesn't have to come back. No, Stormbridge Crossing has to come back. All they did was get a subdivision approval. Now each parcel it has to come back to us. And at that time, we can recommend that they try to use these,
Yeah, I
native
just
plants.
think it's good practice.
But it does come back to us.
Okay, I'll nudge it.
Okay, Mr. Talley.
I guess we're talking about communications. I guess this falls under communications. You gave us the report probably about a month ago from the zoning enforcement, what was going on. I know you're going to give us another one. Do you have an update though on from that communication on the property on Academy and Weiss with the dam?
Yes, we actually reached out to the developer. We've asked for a status update and that we have warned him that, you're getting far along on the construction where we need this. And we need this like in the next 90 days, especially if there's corrective actions. So we're in communications with him and we haven't received that report. However, we've been promised it's coming very soon.
Okay, and does it still stand from when we made our decision that they can't transfer properties?
That's correct. That's in your.
That's in our
approval.
approval, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I did notice they're building another house now, so.
Yeah. And it also actually in your approval, I think it's by that report has to be provided to town by December of this year. So in addition to, you had two safety checks. You
Yeah.
had one, no lots are going to be transferred until you know that this dam's safe. Two, you had to do it by the end of the calendar year.
So they could build all the houses that were approved, they just can't sell them.
They can't sell them.
Thanks.
Okay.
And actually, just quick, sorry, Sean, the next meeting, you'll have the updated zoning enforcement report from Mike Strollo. We're incorporating some of the requests that members of the commission had, like when did you issue orders, et cetera. So you'll have a revised report from him at the next meeting.
In that same property, look at those sight lines, the brush that's there blocking.
I'll tell him.
No, really, seriously.
No, I know you're serious. and that's
There's
why- here
some
we go.
places that are unbelievable.
So Mike has about 10, 12 open cases right now.
Yes.
He's had 3 hearings, of which the hearing officer upheld the determination of violation. We've had a few that are making progress. The 3 worst ones are still bad. Probably they'll be being fined and/or we'll have the attorney involved with those. But we've met, I got the pleasure of meeting those two individuals on those 3 properties. It was quite an experience.
I'm sure it was.
No chickens. Don't go down.
No chicken hill?
He wants-
They have raccoons. So, are we going back to unfinished business now? Okay, here we go. Discussion and possible action concerning Town of Cheshire Affordable Housing Plan pursuant to CJS 80-30J.
So in your packet was emailed to you. You have the revised plan incorporated Lou's comments. I don't know if anyone else has any comments on this plan.
Nope.
So it needs to be adopted by June 1st. So
So we have to vote on that tonight?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion, don't we? Oh, you have a motion?
Yes, you do, Mr. Chairman. It's a motion to approve the Town of Cheshire Affordable Housing Plan pursuant to Connecticut General State Statute 8-30J. Effective date for the plan is May 23rd, 2022.
Hold on, before we go. Who's going to be voting on it? I just want to know who's qualified to vote tonight on this. You are? Are you going to vote on it? We have 10 people up here. Somebody can bow out if they want to. You're good to go?
I can bow out.
You're going to bow? Okay. All right. So she'll vote on that. All right. So,
All right. For your clarification,
yes.
I'm elected member of the commission and not bow out.
No, I know. I know that. But I'm just saying is that if somebody was not going to, yes. But I wanted to know if somebody couldn't, they were going to abstain from it. That's what I was trying to figure out also. So, or recuse herself or whoever knows what's, you're abstaining from it? Okay. Here we go.
I did last time. I'm gonna do it again.
All right.
My
So,
reasons.
all right. Then we're still going to be okay.
How
all
am
right.
I gonna cause a problem?
No, you're not going to cause a problem.
I'm clarifying that Mr. Dawson can sit,
Yes.
take a vote, he will abstain.
He's just going to abstain. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Your
Okay.
vocals.
Yeah. So he'll be however it goes.
Right.
Okay. Keep on going, Mike. I'm sorry I interrupted
Okay.
you. I just had to clarify that before we went.
I'll repeat the motion. A motion to
Thank you.
approve Town of Cheshire Affordable Housing Plan pursuant to Connecticut General State Statute 8-30J. Effective date for the plan is May 23rd, 2022.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
and second by Mr. Natale. So Mercado and Natale. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion as it is, signify by saying aye
Aye.
and one abstain. And
801.
801. Okay.
Do you want your reason?
It's 82. I don't have to do it.
I thought you were in 82, not 81.
I am 82. Todd.
Okay, moving on. Text amendment to application on behalf of Millage Pano Wolf LLC applicant. Here, you could do that. You want to do that?
So you don't have to do, the next 3 applications, 2
all
are set for
13?
public hearings, and the other is the subdivision application that's related to the rear lot access. They'll be on your next site.
We had
next
that.
Agenda,
That's already been tabled before, right? The one at the
Correct.
Doolittle?
correct. Doodle has two separate applications. The one is the 5-lot subdivision, the other is the special exception for the 2 rear lots associated with
Okay,
the
so
5-lot. It's all the same location.
is it 7/13 or June 13th?
June 13th. That's the 7/13 that's on application number 4, the must act date. It's
Okay,
because it's a subdivision and you only have 65 days to act under
Okay.
statute since they received.
is there any new business coming in?
Not for this meeting, but yes, you'll have stuff to do this.
Beautiful. It'll be EJ's problems. Okay, go ahead, Miss.
Did you find out who the actual?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
I don't,
you don't have to worry.
Anything else?
I just have a question for Mr. Whitman. Michael, on number 4, Anna Doolittle, the subdivision, is that also a public hearing?
No. There's no public hearing for that.
Okay, who's going to say it? Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
adjourned.
Second.
Oh, by Mr. Talley and Mr. Dawson. All those favors, say aye. Aye.